Today's tutorial is how to not fall asleep prayer time. It's amazing how relaxed and calm we get during prayer and fall right to sleep. This has bothered me for a while because prayer is just literally talking to God. Imagine talking to someone important and dozing off. And so, yes, of course. My Royal Duchess Highness, I propose to you.
You propose to me? Off with the head!
After realizing how bad it was to fall asleep during prayer or even let my mind wander, I got 3 tips to help me not do that, and I want to share it with you. The first tip is praying out loud instead of thinking a prayer. I've noticed that when I'm alone, it is 1,000% more effective for me to pray out loud than to just direct a prayer in my mind to God. Otherwise, this happens. God, thank you for this day. It is so beautiful. There's the dog that keeps barking in my videos. I better go get him. Our thoughts are very hard to control and put under a leash. Praying out loud not only helps us keep our thoughts in track, but guess what? Only God can hear our thoughts. So when we pray out loud, even Satan and his demons can hear us, and we get that slight joy knowing that they are trembling and running away from us. But what if we're in a group and someone else is praying? Now, I know this is much easier a situation to fall asleep in. In that case, I have a very interesting sub-tip for you. You know that little voice we have in our head that when we are thinking, we can hear our voice saying it in our heads? I use that to echo whatever that person is saying during the prayer. And it's something like this.
I pray that you will give us the spirit of discernment and may we fulfill your purpose in our lives.
This way, I'm literally praying along with whoever's praying, and it helps me not wander in my head. My second tip is much more important than the first one, but it's a little hard to do. It's to imagine that God is in front of you while you're praying. When we are praying out of habit, we don't necessarily realize why or what we're praying in the first place. The God I worship cannot be seen with our physical senses, any of our senses. So we gotta consciously make an effort to open our spirit eyes. And how do we do that? Well, there are 2 ways I do this. The first one is to actually think that he is present in the room, like he's actually there. I'm actually praying to God. The second thing I do actually works better than the first one, and that is to remember everything I know of God, everything I've experienced of God, anything I have in association to God up till then, think of that. So that becomes a kind of spiritual image I have of God. And that helps me realize the presence of God more around me. Whatever you've learned of God, you can think of that, and it will help you get a right attitude to how you're praying. The third tip, very important, is keeping a position of prayer. This position of prayer really depends on you. As long as it is a position you would actually keep if you were praying to God, the Most High Being in all the universe, or beyond the universe. How would you actually hold yourself in the presence of this mighty God? It wouldn't be like this. Hey God, how you doing today? I just want to be like you, God. I want to be a follower of Christ and... If I were in the presence of God, I would totally be on the floor. Now, we can't always be on the floor, but we can certainly not put ourselves in positions of comfort. I found that 90% of the time, if my head is resting on something, I am going to feel sleepy, especially after a long day or early in the morning when I feel like I haven't finished my sleep. It's actually quite hard to get sleep when you're physically uncomfortable. So find a position that best reflects your attitude to God in the best way that you possibly can, given your environment. It doesn't have to be kneeling if you're going in a bus to some place. You can't kneel, but some way that you can show reverence to God, even just bowing your head or when you're at home in a place where no one can see you, kneeling and bowing your head and covering your head or just lying flat on the floor, it really helps give a sense of who you're praying to and that he's much bigger and greater than you. It helps us be more humble and surrender better than if we're like, thanks God. So I hope these tips helped you. If it did, please like it and share it with people that you see falling asleep during prayer. I'm Vihan Damaris on How To Thursdays, signing off, and I will see you on Serious Sundays. Bye-bye, and let's always strive to be like Jesus.